just like a kick in the gut. I mean, it was tough for him to take.
Rosebud making the tough decision to forfeit Friday's game. Plus, why volunteers are hurrying to clean up a Little Rock Creek. Then a roadside tribute to honor Altie Tenpenny. Your news starts now.
Now, from Arkansas's News and Information Center, this is THV 11 News at 6.
Today, students at Robinson Middle School all wore blue to commemorate the life of a classmate who unexpectedly died Tuesday. This follow-up is our top story tonight. I'm Dawn Scott. Craig O'Neill is off. The student mysteriously collapsed during gym class and later died at the hospital. THV 11's Dan Grossman is live at the middle school tonight with the very latest details. Dan.
Well, Dawn, there's still a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty as the student's name and also the cause of death have not been released. I was speaking with Principal Mr. Luover earlier, and he was telling me that the student just suddenly collapsed during gym class, wasn't doing any strenuous exercises at the time. Despite that uncertainty, however, students here are recovering at a slow pace. You mentioned the blue that they were all wearing earlier, but they've also started posting signs on lockers around campus saying, "We love you, we are going to keep you in our memories," and they've also started the hashtag Fly High. Now, the principal was also saying that while they are still recovering, this is a tragedy that no one should ever need to go through, especially at this young age.
I don't know. I mean, I'm being honest, I don't know. I don't know how to characterize it. It's devastating. It's just, it opens your eyes to the fragility of life.
And while there is that fragility of life, as we mentioned, they are recovering at a slow pace, and that can all be seen in one interaction we had today. The principal and I were walking on campus and just talking about everything that had happened, and he approached a younger student who had actually seen what had happened on Tuesday. He asked her how she was doing, and with a small smile, she responded by saying a little bit better than yesterday, and then embraced him for a hug. It just goes to show the spirit of the students here and also how much they are coming together and how this close school is becoming even closer. Reporting live in Pulaski County, Dan Grossman, THV 11 News.
Dan, thank you. Drivers commuting to and from work today got a look at how friends and family members are remembering Altie Tenpenny. The 20-year-old college football player hailed from North Little Rock, and that is where drivers saw this large number 22 spray painted above Interstate 40. Tenpenny died in a car crash Monday on his way home to Arkansas. The running back most recently played for Nicholls State after 2 seasons with the University of Alabama. The funeral set for this Saturday at Gaines Street Baptist Church in Little Rock. The service begins at 11 a.m.
We have been talking about rain chances, and guess what? The rain beginning to move in as we speak. Mainly western Arkansas tonight, but after midnight, can't rule out a shower across the rest of the state as well. You see it there, the rain moving in from Oklahoma and North Texas. High clouds increasing out ahead of the system, which will make for a beautiful sunset here in about 20 minutes or so. But then just expect cloudy skies and showery weather for the next 4 to 5 days. So gone are the blue skies and sunny days. Current temperature 81 in Hot Springs and Pine Bluff, 82 in Arkadelphia, Camden, and Monticello. Tonight we'll see a low of only 65 with a 30% chance of rain. That goes up to 50% tomorrow. Could hear a rumble of thunder too with a high near 78. We'll talk more about those rain chances into your weekend coming up.
Happening right now, the State Highway Department is hearing concerns from business and homeowners about the possible expansion of Interstate 30. Project would expand a stretch of I-30 into 10 lanes. So this is a live look of a packed open house in North Little Rock where the public can ask questions and learn more about what this expansion means. The widening plan will be a $450 million construction project funded by a half-cent sales tax passed a few years ago. A Central Arkansas football team forced to make an unprecedented decision. All of this because of a recent rash of injuries. THV 11's Marlisa Goldsmith spoke with the team and the coach to find out why they made this call. Marlisa.
Well, Dawn, 40%. That's how much Rosebud's football team has decreased in only a matter of weeks. And now the coach is making a tough call by forfeiting this week's game to make his players' health a priority. In the small town of Rosebud, Arkansas,
it's a game I always look forward to.
A lesson is being taught in a place you may least expect it.
It's not something we want to do at all. It's something we really have to do.
These bleachers, typically packed with a roaring crowd, and the field, typically full of energetic football players. But if you listen closely, now the only howl you'll hear is from the wind, blowing in this bare and empty field.
The biggest part of me that stayed up was that we're going to go play this game regardless, but then you start counting heads and putting them in and doing the math, and you just knew it wasn't going to work.
This is exactly what Rosebud's football field will look like this Friday night.
This amount of injuries is just kind of overwhelming. I mean, we can't seem to keep anybody healthy.
Within a matter of weeks, the roster dropped from 23 players to a mere 14, leaving head coach Kevin Coleman with no option but to forfeit Friday night's game against rival Harding Academy. Coach Coleman tells me it was a phone call he dreaded making to contact Harding Academy's football coach and tell him they'd be forfeiting the game. The worst part about it is it's Harding Academy's homecoming night.
Coach Moat and the administration at Harding could not have been more understanding. I hate that it happened, but they're a classy group of people over there. He understood.
Although the players are a little bummed, who knows? Maybe there's a silver lining in the bigger life lesson that sometimes winning has nothing to do with the scoreboard.
Couldn't be more proud of a group of kids. Just they took what they had and they made the most of it.
Now, Coach Coleman is hoping his players will be able to heal over the next week so they can face Atkins with a full roster next Friday.
Well, Lisa, thank you. The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality is trying to find out who is responsible for the landmark fire that burned more than 15 acres of land. More than 25,000 tires caught fire. THV 11's Astrid Solorzano with the latest on this now. Astrid.
Down the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality, they say their first complaint they received was more than 10 years ago. And the agency, like the neighbors who live in that area, they want to hold the property owner responsible.
I like that song too.
Marvin Hickman starts every day with a routine.
Get these to flip a little bit.
But Monday afternoon, Hickman knew the day would be far from ordinary.
It's a mess in the car.
Yeah, it's a mess. Now, that car used to be red.
He lives next door to the home along Pitts Road that caught fire Monday. He says he's not surprised it happened.
Tens of thousands of tires piled up, and we'd seen them for months and months bringing them in.
Catherine Beninati works from the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. They received a second complaint from a neighbor about the property last May.
It was really hard to get a count on the tires because there were so many and it's so overgrown. So his best estimate was 20,000 to 45,000.
She says when they investigated, it was hard tracking down the owner.
They sent 4 letters to people whose names were connected to the property.
She says after finding out who owns the property, there are still questions that need to be answered.
It gets a little tricky because over the summer he was in jail. So not only do we want to find the property owner, but we want to make sure that we can hold them accountable for the cleanup.
Because when they're dealing with this type of damage,
we want the responsible party to pay. We don't have the budget to pay for these kind of cleanups.
And the ADEQ also inspected the property back in 2004 after that first complaint, but they didn't find any violation because it used to be a car salvage yard. The fire is still an ongoing investigation. Dawn.
Astrid, thank you. Meantime, the medical waste spill that happened on Markham yesterday now turned over to police. THV 11's Meredith Mitchell tells us how that waste ended up in several front yards.
While it's cleaned up now, on Wednesday morning, medical waste, including bloody gauze, disposable gloves, and surgical masks, were found thrown throughout these yards on Markham.
Cleanup crews said 2 bags of medical garbage fell off a dump truck Wednesday morning. Authorities say it happened following a pickup at a medical facility.
Hazmat came in, everybody confirmed that it was indeed from medical waste, so we were able to call in a professional company to come in and do the cleanup for us.
Captain Edwin Wolf with the Little Rock Fire Department says it's not a typical call for them.
Our hazmat team, they go out a lot of times, but it's usually for gas or diesel spills.
The fire department confirmed hypodermic needles and syringes were a part of that waste. Legally, sharps are to be placed in a shatterproof container and disposed of by a medical waste disposal service.
Get the proper people to be more responsible with their medical waste. We don't like for this to happen, and we want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
The fire department says they know now where that medical waste originated from, but they're not naming the medical facility where it came from. In Little Rock, Meredith Mitchell, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Meredith. It is a race against time for volunteers cleaning up Fouche Creek. Trash is piled up over decades in the creek's bed, creating an environmental concern. Today was the last nice day before the weekend rain, and THV 11's Mariel Mose caught up with volunteers as they quickly filled trash bags.
It's a lot to clean in a little time.
Are we out of trash bags again? I love it.
A group of volunteers created this trail of trash bags.
We probably will have gotten close to 2 tons of trash.
Most of these volunteers come from the Canoe Club.
There's some real interesting things that you find out here.
Old toys, car parts, a toilet.
Nerf gun. Score.
The majority of trash, though, covering the creek bed are bottles and styrofoam.
It breaks down, but it never goes away.
Hurting wildlife in the creek and forest.
These, are little pieces of styrofoam that can be just in among the leaves.
73% of the city's watershed filters through Fouche Creek. So when it rains, all the trash that's already sitting here filters through the creek and ultimately ends up in the Arkansas River.
It's out of sight, out of mind.
To fix the problem, volunteers say clean first, then change habits.
To reduce what we use.
Mariel, thank you. And volunteers still plan to pick up this Saturday despite the chance for rain. Many more volunteers are needed. If you want to help, go to the Arkansas Canoe Club Facebook page, or you can contact Little Rock Parks and Recreation. New tonight, Hot Springs police make an arrest 2 weeks after a man is found dead in the street. Malcolm Easley is accused of killing Stephen Moore on October 8th. Moore was found shot to death at the intersection of Linwood Avenue and Garland Streets. Meantime, the number of open liquor stores is slowly starting to grow in Saline County. Tomorrow, this is the second liquor store after receiving its permit yesterday. Backdoor liquor opens at 10 in the morning in Benton. Saline County voters last year approved liquor sales for the first time since the 1930s. Well, this is home, and that is why the Quapaw Quarter Association spent today recognizing Little Rock families who are preserving their historic homes. The association installed more than 30 historic building markers, mostly to private homes. Some of the houses and buildings date back to the 1800s. Now, Ray Roberts with the Quapaw Quarter Association says the revamped marker program will only grow.
This is the first year we've done it. From now on, we'll take applications once per year and install a group of markers every March from here on out. And so we'll hope to have many more next year and after that.
The homeowners pay for the building markers, but the association does not make a profit. Send things over to Mary now.
We've got a big NFC West matchup tonight in San Francisco. The 49ers welcoming the Seattle Seahawks into town. Loser of this one can probably kiss their playoff hopes goodbye. Plus, hear from Gus Malzahn about his return home to Arkansas. All that and more coming up a little later in sports.